Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us here at Synqly. We are excited to bring you our first Behind the Build of 2026, right? That's the year that we're in. This is covering the last 3 months, a little bit over the last 3 months of everything that the Synqly engineering team has delivered to the world. This is going to be actually one of our biggest webinars covering a lot of updates. So I'm really excited about this. I don't know if Steve is, but we're going to really dive into everything that's come out of the team, all the new capabilities, as well as a bunch of new logos being added into our provider list. Some general housekeeping rules. This webinar is being recorded. So if for some unfortunate reason you must leave us early, you've got to go do some real work, go build that integration that you haven't turned to us to help support. Don't worry, I'll send you the recording after the webinar and you'll be able to watch it. It's also going to be up on YouTube, ungated. We don't gate anything here. We'll peel back the curtain and everything. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, don't worry about asking. Don't worry about waiting till the end. If it's important for the time being, I'll interrupt Steve. He knows I love to do that, and he'll answer it. Now you can always wait till the end when we have the questions and answers section. And then finally, I am going to be sending a non-GDPR compliant email to all of you saying thank you for attending, as well as a copy and a link to anything we talk about today. If we source anything, if we cite anything, that link will be in there. And we'll also put that description in the description on YouTube when we're done. Quick introductions. My name is Richard Melick. I'm the head of marketing over here at Synqly. To my proverbial left is Steve Erickson. Steve Erickson, say hello to the beautiful people.
Hello.
Steve Erickson is the co-founder of Synqly, also our chief technology officer and sometimes chief marketing officer. When he does really good design work, he gets promoted. But right now, let's dive into who Synqly is and what we're here to do. Synqly is on a mission to be the universal connection standard for security and IT. We are an integration platform as a service, unified API, data orchestration layer. All these terms really are used to describe what we do. We are proud of what we do. We fit into a lot of use cases, but for the most part, we are supporting vendors that need to build integrations for their customers. You need to get data from A over to Z. We can help you build that. By building it, I mean you build an integration into our ecosystem and you get access to more. That looks like this in terms of a architecture. Down there at the bottom is a bunch of logos, just a few, I mean, general handful of logos that feed into our unified API layer. This is our data orchestration layer. We are handling all the technology, all the data mapping that you need behind the scenes. And all you have to do from that top level is connect in. You get access to all those vendors. So if, say, your customers are coming to you saying, I need asset management, I need vulnerability, I need identity, and any of the other categories that we support, you build an integration to that with our support. And you not only have access to that one product that maybe your customers are asking for, but all the products that we have added and will future add to that category. Connect once, connect them many. That is what we support. Now, within that ecosystem and that capability of what we provide, we have Synqly MZP, which Steve will go into a little bit later. Standardized schema, we're normalizing that data down to OCSF. So even if your schema isn't in OCSF layer and you have your own schema, we can help normalize it bidirectionally from the vendor over to the integration partner and backwards. There's configuration management, there's credentials management, and this is a fully secure ecosystem. Now, this isn't a product pitch or anything like that. So if you are interested in learning more about our product, do not hesitate to request a demo. We'll get you set up. We'll walk you through everything, or go visit our website, synqly.com, and we will get through it. But that said, let's dive into the actual webinar itself, and I'm going to kick it over to Steve.
Thanks, Richard. As a integration platform that integrates with, a whole bunch of security and IT ops type of products, we're always looking to add new products to our portfolio, mostly based on customer feedback. So, as you're working with Synqly or evaluating Synqly, just let us know of any gaps in the solution, and we'll work with you to make plans to be able to add those things into the platform. So this is just a slide just showing all the various providers that we've added over the last few months, and in the follow-on slides, we'll talk into a little bit details about how those providers are related to the connector they've been added to, and a little bit of color around it. So the other aspect of integrations is the testing aspect, right? And once you have the integration, it's very, like it's very important to continue testing it to be able to evaluate how your product is working with those end products. We're continuing to make capabilities available in our platform around being able to enable testing, and we've been continually adding what we call mock providers, which are really test providers that have data that's similar to the actual products that you can query and use to facilitate testing. We're also continuing to, where legally possible, to have processes to enable customers to share some of our live instances with them in order to facilitate testing. We're working those two paths in parallel in order to get customers what they need to have confidence in that their product is working end to end with those target.
I love that phrase. We're legally allowed. We're just skirting the law on that one.
Yeah, well, anyone who's navigated partnership agreements knows that they're all very, very explicit. So we have a lot of partnerships, and we want to make sure that we're doing adhering to all those requirements.
Right.
So starting at sort of the core product features, and these are things that would be like outside of any given provider. We're continuing on the journey of what we're referring to as async jobs, which is one of the most powerful features we've added, and in the product, and it essentially enables you to schedule integrations, on a regular interval, have those jobs run asynchronously, and push the data out to one of our sync providers. And so we've had one of the final steps in this is being able to add visibility to these jobs in our admin UI, and we now have that. Also, related to the admin UI, we're also continuing on a journey for to enable export of Synqly data, being able to have alerts for various activities that are happening with Synqly, and we now have the ability to export audit logs via the UI. That's a really nice feature for folks that want to keep track of what's going on in their Synqly environment. One other one I'll mention is the AWS role chaining support is pretty powerful feature for us. Essentially, that works at a core level and adds the ability to do what's referred to as AWS sort of role chaining as the authentication method. So, you can take advantage of that in any of the AWS providers in our system, and it's the AWS recommended way of authenticating these integrations. So anyway, it's good practice if you're using AWS. Cloud security is an area of development for us. We've went and built out a set of core providers, and are essentially building out the capabilities within those 4 providers, and also looking to the future to add new providers to cloud security. And so so the work that we're doing right now is primarily around sort of alignment of the capabilities across the first 4 providers, which is AWS Security Hub, Palo Alto, Microsoft, and
AWS.
AWS. Thank you.
Welcome.
So as you can see, a lot of the capabilities here are around building out that alignment. Being able to query threats, indicators of misconfigurations across these various providers. We're also paying attention to breaking changes in the with those end products. So we're staying on top of those as well. The one call out here is again AWS. AWS has a new security hub architecture, and there's a way to asynchronously process a lot of that data. As you can imagine, when in AWS there could be an awful lot of data, right? So AWS recommends what's called Event Bridge for integrations that will consume a large amount of data. We now support that Event Bridge architecture in our product, enabling you to be AWS compliant with their partner rules and regulations. Wiz is one that's on deck for us. A lot of ask for Wiz, obviously, given the player they are within the cloud security ecosystem. So look for that one hopefully in the next behind the build. AppSec is a new connector for us. We've quickly built a bunch of integrations into some leading AppSec providers. GitHub and Snyk are the two most notable here. We're also continuing to get feedback from customers on mapping and filtering enhancements, and make those as they come in. We have a few that are on deck. You could see here in the slide. If anyone, as is true of any connector, if there's others that are needed, just let us know.
I want to chime in on the AppSec thing. Is that what I love is that it shows the nimbleness that our team is able to provide to our customers. AppSec has been growing in popularity in both what we see in terms of startups, new organizations stepping in to address this growing threat, as well as some of the legacy players, reimagining their product into the AppSec space. And having come from that space, personally seeing application security being brought into the security ecosystem, into the security mindset for visibility and control and data sharing. It's good to see that. And I'm not gonna lie, I was excited to see this category get added in. So whatever comes next is going to be just a nice cherry on top.
Yeah, and identity is one that we've worked on for a long time, and it's primarily been around IAM type of products. But we started to hear, information from some of our customers and prospects like, hey, there's identity information that we'd like in some other classes of products, HRM, sort of human resources management type of products, like Workday, right? They manage. They're in many cases the source of truth for user information, for group information. We're starting down the journey of adding some of those other types of products to that identity connector. Any of those products like HRM or ATS products that are managing user data can give information like leavers and joiners and that type of information through our APIs, as well as a whole bunch of other details around organizational structure and employee status and things like that. So we're starting to build up a set of those HRM and ATS products in our backlog for our roadmap. So if you are one of those companies that are interested in that, please reach out and let us know of other products that may be valuable to you. EDR is probably one of the most popular connectors that we have, and fairly high level of maturity in that one. We're still, occasionally making, mapping and filtering updates as, sort of small enhancements. But we're, I would say, mostly sort of going, deeper, in additional providers, and eSIG Connect is the one that we released recently. We also have a Trellix and Iru in our backlog that we're working to get started. So the other one that of interest here, worth a call out, is we did have a limitation in our ability to query endpoint devices in CrowdStrike to 10,000, and we were able to relax that limit based on customer feedback. So if you're dealing with tons of CrowdStrike devices, we could. vulnerability. Sorry,
No, no, just tons of CrowdStrike devices. Just CrowdStrike is everywhere.
CrowdStrike is everywhere. um, so vulnerability management is probably the other most popular connector that we have with EDR. So for this one, we're rapidly adding new providers based on customer feedback, and also doing some work to be able to ensure that we're adhering to our one to many mantra. We're trying to address some issues where the filtering and the capabilities were slightly different among a few vulnerability providers. So trying to make sure that we're taking care of the things that will enable our customers to easily be able to work at the connector level and not worry about the specifics of each vulnerability. There's a few adjustments there that was towards that end. Asset management, think about both CMDB type of products as well as products that just can't, have some concept of asset. A lot of customers use it to be able to sort of pull asset data, regarding a specific IP address or things like that to be able to do some correlation against other information they may be using. Again, just similarly to vulnerabilities, we're expanding the depth of the connector, adding most recently Microsoft Defender, and Microsoft calls like half of their products Defender, so this is the Microsoft Defender for vulnerabilities, and then also we've been doing a bunch of work in Armis because they have their essentially a popular, both product in the CMDB world, and they have lots of different capabilities around managing OT data, matching vulnerability data, alert data. So we've been doing some work to expand there. And as all the other similarly to all the other connectors, just a bunch of new providers in the queue. It's a new one for us. We have a ticketing provider that can sort of manage tickets and manage, querying those tickets and the full life cycle of ticketing. We were hearing from customers that, they were interested in some incident response type of integrations, which would be things like, who's on call and incident response type of use cases. So this is an early one for us. We went and added a couple initial providers, but really looking for feedback on this one from customers, and then we'll expand out from there. Lots going on in SIM and Sync. So the way we differentiate this category is SIM is the full SIM providers, which have a bidirectional flow within our SIM connector, essentially allowing read or writing information through those SIMs. And a sync is really just a write-only integration where you're just pushing event data to a provider, a third-party product. I think, Richard, we should have like a favorite feature of the quarter, and I think for moving forward, and I think for me, it's the generic HTTP sync provider, right? So this allows you to be able to support any product in the world that has an HTTP endpoint that can accept event data, right? This just allows you to configure it on a product, and then you have an integration with that, with that product without having to, have official support for it in our product. So it's a super nice feature, really flexible, allows you to integrate with a large number of products, immediately.
I'm writing down integration of the month. We're gonna start doing that highlight next month.
Definitely.
Now, real quick, if you're looking for generic HTTP sync provider on the Synqly website, synqly.com, and you go to the integration providers, it appears as Synqly because it is an integration that we are providing as a generic brand. So it's just categorized a little bit differently there. Just look for the Synqly logo inside that massive list, and you'll be able to get all the details of what it can and cannot do. But yeah, we'll start integration of the month, and we'll do it next to employee of the month. It'll be great.
Yeah, a few other highlights here. We've done a bunch of work on Panther to add it as a
Yeah.
SIM into Sync. Lots of interest in that one. We've also been working on um, getting the ability to query alerts across the SIM providers, and we're doing some additional updates to that one to get all the right, filtering and data mapping in place to be able to support sort of being able to have focused queries on just alerts across all the SIMs. So this is a category that we spend a lot of time in, a lot of work, and it's another popular one on.
Right. It's continues to grow in popularity.
Yeah, as does the MCP. It's
Oh yeah.
mostly this month is about some adjustments just based on customer feedback. I mean, we do have like our MCP, customers in production using our MCP. It's an incredibly powerful option, and I recommend everybody just give it a shot just to be able to understand its capabilities, since it's pretty amazing. Um,
Yeah, the MCP is probably one of my favorite tools to play with on a daily basis, even if Andy gets annoyed of all my questions with it.
um, as always, we're continuing to push out Synqly embedded builds at the same cadence as our SaaS builds. It stays up to date with our SaaS, so that you're not sort of missing out on any updates. Other than the role chaining support, which we've added in to support in the embedded Helm charts. The biggest news is we're now support Synqly Bridge with embedded. For folks who aren't aware, Synqly Bridge is a small. I would refer to it as a lightweight proxy that end customers can deploy in their environment to be able to give Synqly access to providers that are running in a private network, right? So um, previous to this, it was Synqly Mesh only supported the bridge functionality, and we now support it on Synqly Embedded, so folks can be able to use that in regardless of
Excellent. That's a lot of updates, Steve.
a lot of
As
updates.
all, yeah, a lot of updates. Now, if you are a Syncly customer, you're going to get our Slack messages every single Monday or Tuesday whenever I post it up, covering last week's release notes and just little highlight of what's going on. If you are curious about Syncly and you want to explore more about it, don't hesitate to go to syncly.com. Click book a demo. You get access right away to our calendars. You can grab any time that you need. 30 minutes is all we need to show you the capability and the power of this. This is just, I mean, genuinely, this last three months is just scratching the surface of what we have delivered. And what we are going to continue to deliver, as well as what is to come. Now, for those of you that are going to be traveling over the next 3 weeks over to RSA, we will be there. We will have a booth. Come visit us in the South Hall 3130. So that middle section connecting the North and South Hall. We're going to be on the south side of the middle section. You won't miss us. We have a great booth designed, tooting my own horn on that one, definitely for sure. But we're also doing a couple fun engagements. So if you pre-book your meeting with us ahead of RSA, you'll be entered to win a $500 gift card to any airline or hotel of your choice. I don't care if your airline is Air India, Air Japan, whichever, you're some random hotel chain. We will buy you $500 of gift card worth USD. Um, uh, for that travel, because we want to encourage you to get away. Let's ditch that integration debt. Let's pack your bags. Let's have some fun. Let's get moving on your next adventure. Now, if you are coming out and you are a vendor themselves looking to add us to your ecosystem or to explore a partnership on that side, you want to set up an executive briefing. If you book an executive briefing, we're doing something called a junior sponsorship. You will be entered to win one of three junior sponsorships. Now, what is a junior sponsorship? Basically, we have set aside a fund that will enable us to sponsor kids' baseball, robotics programs, speech and debate, hockey, whatever, of your choice if you're one of the three that are selected. So book that executive briefing and you will have the opportunity to win that. So it could be your own kids, it could be a nephew, niece, it could be a local program, but you will have the choice for that sponsorship. And it's our way to give back to the community, invest in the future, and go forward. And then there's one other thing that we're doing is a breakfast. I don't have a little picture of this up right now, but FC Barker, the ethical hacker slash bank robber. He is the author of How I Rob Banks. He is joining us for breakfast at RSA. I can't remember the date and time off the top of my head, and that's really sad because it is me that's planning it. But go to synqly.com/RSAC-2026 or just click that link at the top in the events section and check it out if you are interested in joining us for breakfast. Put your name on the list. The slots are filling up fast. I think I've got 4 slots left. So be sure to get on that list. It's going to be a private breakfast at a private location that you will not have access to otherwise. So I don't see any questions popping in here. So for this, I want to say thank you to everybody who has joined us today. We will see you in 3 months, a little less than 3 months, for the next Behind the Build. If you have subscribed to this webinar, you will get an invitation, updated invitation. If you're new to this, be sure to subscribe. Check out our demo, synqly.com. My name is Rich Melick. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thanks, everyone. Steve Erickson.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.